They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host.
Hey, it's Melissa. How are you?
Melissa. And we're pretty excited to be here today. We're talking to a guy who is relatively new compared to some of the other people we've had on the show before, but I think that's super important because that's going to resonate with a lot of you and show you how taking action and coming up with a plan can put you on the path to success really, really quickly. We have Mark Doty. He's a managing partner in Doty Capital. He's relatively new. I think he quit his job this year and is
good job, Mark.
is investing in San Diego, which if you don't know, San Diego is a crazy competitive market with crazy prices. So Mark's been doing a lot of that with his own money and just grit and determination and probably a little bit of ignorance and fearlessness. And I think
my favorite,
not mine. I think he's going to provide a lot of value. Mark, man, thank you so much for finding time to fit us into your schedule. We know you're out there rocking it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm honored to be here. This will be fun.
Thanks, Mark. Can you do us a little background of like what your W-2 job was, how you transitioned into real estate or how that happened?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
So I grew up in Midwest, came out to California a little over 15 years ago. I was really successful in my medical device sales career. That's really what I've been doing since I graduated from the University of Missouri right around 2000. So I've been in sales my whole career. In about 3 years ago, so in 2018, the company that I was working for went through they got a major lawsuit, went through a huge restructuring, and they kind of forced me into a promotion that was a huge pay cut, and I was just like not okay with that. It made me feel really disposable. I'd been in this career and been doing well. I'd gotten on stage for President's Club and gotten a bunch of promotions, but I just felt like it kind of lost its luster after a while. And I started looking at other options. I reread Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was, for everybody, that's kind of something that kicks you in the butt a little bit.
Yeah.
But I read that and I was just looking for something different to do. So that was in 2018. When that started, I went through probably 18 months of heavy research, getting educated, reading books, podcasts, like everything I could do to get knowledgeable. Got into my first deal in the beginning of 2019. That was a duplex that I was that my partner and I decided to turn into a triplex. So pretty heavy value add for our first deal that took quite a while to get done. But after we completed that deal, and we completed it with the BRRRR strategy. So we were using all of our own capital, HELOC, and then just personal savings. After we completed that deal, got all of our capital back, I was like, I've got a proof of concept. I'm ready to keep doing this. This works in my market. So I live in like you said, I live in San Diego and I invest in San Diego. And the metrics out here in Southern California are a little different in the rest of the world, or the rest of the country at least. So I was looking for a model that would allow me to build cash flow and recycle my capital without this huge tax burden of like flipping houses or something along that lines, because I wanted to hold the properties. So I got my proof of concept after the first deal, started looking for some mentorship, locked onto some other people who had been able to do stuff like this in San Diego. And then flash forward into this year, 2021, I was able to get my capital back, go into my next deal, quit my job. And then I partnered with a guy who's in town, who really like has a lot of the skill sets that are the opposite of mine. He's like a engineering construction guy. I'm a sales and marketing guy. So we're kind of a good yin and yang. And then we've just kind of like put the pedal down, and we've been going after it. We've got 5 properties this year, which I know is not like a huge volume, but the price points are a little different out here. So that's kind of where we are. What we do is we're looking for value adds where we're either at a minimum, we're looking to add like a bedroom and a bathroom to our units. But the goal on everything that we pick up is we're trying to add units. So we're trying to maximize the density. In Southern California and San Diego, there's a big housing crisis. So there's a lot of incentives from the regulatory bodies to add units and save some of the construction costs to do that. So that's what we're doing.
Will you dig into that a little bit? Will you talk about that? That's super interesting because we don't have that here. So I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. How are you finding those programs, and then what does that actually mean? Are they cutting you a check, or you're getting tax write-offs? What is it? What does that look like?
Okay, good question. So there's a few different ways to do it. So in California, they came up with some cost savings from they save you on development fees. So here's like here's something that I'm putting on the market this week. I bought a single family house that's kind of run down that I bought from a wholesaler, haggled a little bit, but got the house in the market. It's like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 square foot. It's in crappy condition. It's in a subpar condition, but it's on a big, flat, multifamily zoned lot. So what we did is we bought the house at a little bit of a discount because we got it from a wholesaler. But then what our plan was to take it to an architect and get 3 additional units drawn up on that, and get those get the units permitted by the city of San Diego, which takes some skill and some time in order to do that. But then what we're doing is, say that again.
I said some relationships.
Yeah, I mean the guy that I partner with has the ability to draw up the plans. He's an architect also.
Oh, nice.
But so he's like spending all of his time scrolling through the information bulletins and the regulations that are coming up statewide and citywide that allow you to add ADUs, which are called like accessory dwelling units. So we're either buying a house and trying to add ADUs, or buying on a multifamily lot and then turning a house into a duplex and then adding an ADU. So the incentives come because normally when you try to add units, you're having to pay either taxes, school fees, or development impact fees. That's the biggest one that they've changed. They're waiving some of those fees right now because the city of San Diego specifically is looking to incentivize guys like me to build these things. Mm-hmm. So normally those fees are somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 per unit. Well, right now those are waived. So if you're taking a house and you're turning it into 20 units, you're saving $600,000.
That's crazy.
So it's that. That's one of the areas. And then they're changing things around. Like you can buy a house on a big single family lot. You can split that and add 4 units onto each lot. So you buy a house for 1 unit and you can turn that into 8 units. So you just have to have a team and the incentive to go after it. And that's what we're doing.
So do you use a same construction team? Like, do you have your own subs? And
we do.
And how was that GC'd?
The GC is the guy I partner with. So he's a design build guy.
Wow,
so he's
got
perfect. A civil structural engineering background, and he's got a Class A general contractor's license, which is like the higher level. Mm-hmm. So if he needs to, if we're going to build 6 stories, he's got the license to do that, and he's got the team that does that. So yeah, he's on the team.
That's
so it's
crazy.
in-house.
How did you guys meet each other?
We got connected through a hard money lender.
Okay.
I was just trying to meet other people who were doing this. It's kind of an unusual model. I don't know if you guys have heard of a lot of other people doing this. But it's kind of an unusual model to add units, and you do the BRRRR strategy in that regard. Typically what you're trying to do is buy at a lower price point so that you can get your cash out at the end of construction. My model is to increase the value so much that you can buy it almost at retail price. I mean, I'm looking for discounted properties, but the model works if you're buying it off the MLS because you're changing it in a way that most investors aren't doing it. So I'm going around at the RIA groups and hard money lenders, and I'm talking to brokers. I'm just putting offers in, really just getting my feet wet and getting my talk tracks down. And I came across a guy who was doing the same thing. He was looking to partner. And we met, and it just kind of clicked. And
that's crazy. What a great story that is.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's working out.
Changing the use of the property to highest and best, you're finding more value. You can, and not always, but you can always increase the value. You can only take the value down when you're purchasing to so much. So your profit's only going to be that much. But if you have an unlimited amount of units that you can add theoretically to these lots, you can increase the value of the property exponentially. And like you said, that allows you to be able to pay, slightly less than retail or maybe even retail in some instances. And I think that's huge. It's almost, you can't save your way into being a millionaire, and you can't buy your discounted properties and really look to burr yourself out.
And I would say, like, one of the things that I just to put out there, if your audience is like newer investors, they're probably listening to like Bigger Pockets and hearing that they're probably hearing that you don't want to invest in expensive markets. And I would say there are ways to do it that will work, that will allow you to cash flow. You just have to like keep looking for it. And it's not that like it works in every market. It's just a little different in my market specifically.
Right. So now you're burning these out. You have, I think you said you had 15 units now. Which I'm sure, a year ago or 2 years ago, or 2018, when you were actually looking at it, 15 units seemed like a phenomenal number, something that was not achievable. But you did the research, you started to prepare, and then you started taking action. How do we get these guys that are listening to our podcast right now, that are in that research phase, to jump forward into the action phase? What was it to you that pushed you over that limit?
Man, that's a good question, because it's like near and dear to my heart. It was like, I guess I remember like sitting back before I had actually made offers. Like I'd gone through and I'd done my research, and I was like, I want to buy here, and this is what I think would be a good price. But I got kind of I mean, like, I'm a sales guy. I'm supposed to like know how to do this, to talk to agents and stuff. But I got all nervous when I was trying to put like my actual offer in, or actually calling the listing agent to put that in. I was nervous about it, but I think like at the end of the day, I wanted it. I knew I wanted it, and nobody was going to do it for me. So it was like, it's not that scary, and you'll get better. It's okay if you kind of suck in the beginning, because like when you start anything new, you're not going to be great at it, but you just have to be willing to like put in a few reps to get better. And it does get better.
That's so true. Yes. I mean, after you do 10, you're good to go after that. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that nervousness? Go ahead.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, JD.
Do you think that nervousness came from fear of rejection or fear of acceptance?
I think it was fear of like looking stupid. Mm-hmm. Like you go into it and fumble through your words. You don't know what they're going to say. I didn't know how I was going to reply. That's what it was. You got a good point on if it's the fear of rejections or acceptance. I mean, that's a good point, because after you like get through it and you break through and you get something accepted, then it's like, whoa, that worked. Yeah. So but for me, it was just like kind of the getting started part of it was like fumbling through it and being bad at it, I think.
Yeah, we have a mentee, and he sat in my office yesterday and was saying this exact thing. I'm like, why are you so afraid to make these calls? And he goes, I'm just afraid I'm going to look stupid. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You'll never talk to these people again if it doesn't go well. So it's okay. And they don't know. I mean, they're counting on you to come from a position of knowledge. And so just if you don't know it, say, I'll find out and get back to you, or we'll figure it out together. Something like that,
that's funny that you've got somebody in that situation, because it would just be like, you have to accept that you're not going to be perfect at it first, but in order to like get good at it, you have to do it.
Yes.
And I don't think like going like if it's your mentee and you guys are like role playing before they make a call, I mean, that's good practice.
Yeah.
But it's like when you actually get the response and the dialogue going with the person you're trying to sell or trying to buy from, that's where you get the real improvement. I think.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
I think that one of the issues that comes about is in this environment, especially right now with real estate prices so high, everybody's a real estate investor. And the only ones that you see are these smooth talking, fluid people who have a commanding presence, who are able to get up on stage and talk about how awesome it is. So people coming into it think, well, if I'm not that person, then I'm not going to be able to do it if I don't have the knowledge to be able to speak about it. But they didn't see, before that person learned how to get up and smooth talk people, that they were stumbling and fumbling over their words, and they didn't know, what does open escrow mean? Like before you ever buy a house or before you go through this process, before you start talking to these sellers and making these offers, you don't know any of that stuff. And there's only one way to really, really understand it. And that's to start going through that process. Yeah. And I think it's really important. I'm glad that you mentioned that that's what it is, because a lot of new investors are scared of that, but you can't look good and learn something new at the same time. I think Matt Terrio, I heard him say that a bunch. It's just not possible. And I think if more people talked about that, we might be able to help newer investors jump that hurdle a little bit earlier.
Do you think people, like the people that you're talking to, like the guys that are newer, that are nervous about getting started, are they looking for a home run on their first deal?
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
And how do you get around that?
Yeah. The saying, if it's easy, everybody would do it, so that's what makes you the difference, is that you're willing to keep going, even though you suffer so much rejection, right? Part of it, you have to be able to move past that and keep pushing forward.
I would just go for a single. Like, get in the game.
Right.
Just that's what I would say. It's just like, yeah, it's scary, but you're not going to get rich off like your first deal. And I think like the stuff that you learn, how to open escrow, what a title company does, like all the different pieces of the transaction, you can talk about that stuff, but when it's your transaction, it's a lot different.
Correct.
And when it's your money, it's even more different.
Yeah.
I think that I've talked about this before, but it's like when you're first starting out, you have all this fear and all this unknown. And a lot of the people that I know come from similar backgrounds to us, where maybe they didn't have a lot of money and they didn't have people teaching them. So they're figuring this out through Rich Dad, Poor Dad and learning it on their own. And the thing that I tell them is you need to make these mistakes and you got to figure them out quickly. What you want to do is get enough education that you don't make a huge mistake on your very first go. You can overcome that, but it's a lot harder to overcome $100,000 mistake when it's your first deal than it is that when you've done, 500 deals and you lose a $10,000 earnest money deposit. You can overcome that. But making those little mistakes, I would even say that if you do your first deal and it's a live-in flip or a burst strategy and it doesn't go well and you can only get 20% of your money back out, that's the cost of your education. And me and Melissa talk about this all the time. When we had our 10-plex debacle, we learned about how to deal with property managers, how to work together as partners, how to confront problems in our business, in our real estate investing journey. And that cost us a significant amount of money, but I still wouldn't change doing that for anything. And it was a loss,
One of the things I think you can do is to curb the risk part of it, is set your criteria a little different. If you're like trying to flip a house or a 10-unit apartment, don't go after the one that's like half burned down with water floods that was built in 1905. Set your criteria up so that you're looking for a 70s or 80s built house that doesn't have mold, that doesn't have fire, that doesn't have, I don't know, you guys are close to hurricanes, I think.
Oh yeah.
But you don't have any of that major, the major damage stuff. Look for a cosmetic fixer that was built in the 80s that you can do paint and carpet and get like a single.
Yeah,
as
that's
your
good
starter,
advice. I like that. Yeah.
The way to do that, I think, is a little bit intimidating because those deals are harder to come by because guys like you, guys like me or Melissa, we're out there looking for those all the time because we want those and we recognize them right away. So we're going to snatch them up. But that doesn't mean that you can't find them. And the only way you're going to get those deals is if you're putting those kind of offers in on those properties. So you got to find those properties and you got to put the offer in, whether the numbers work at the number that it's listed at or not. Putting that offer in at the number that makes it work for you is the goal. And if you do it right with your inspection period and all these things that you learn from these books and from podcasts on Bigger Pockets, you're not really that that step doesn't cost you anything. It may be a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, but you can do that. And then you can reevaluate. Is this still something I want to move forward with? Yes or no? Put my earnest money down. Do I want to continue with the inspection? Yes or no? Put your, move forward in little steps. It's not just you put an offer in and now you have to buy this $500,000 house that's going to bankrupt you if it doesn't go right.
Yeah. And another way to think about that is that, like, you're assuming the offer gets accepted and that's like the end goal. Look at it. What I thought worked for me personally was putting the offer in, not as much to like get that particular deal as to get like a little bit of credibility in the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, your first offer is not going to get accepted. Probably not your second one, probably not your third one. But if you go to the same agent who's got this kind of properties and you put in 5 or 10 offers, they're at least going to know who you are and like see you as more credible than when you've never put anything in. So it, like, if it's just a building process and you think of it like that, that's a better way to do it than like, it's one deal that's going to make or break you. It's just like, it's part of the funnel.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mark. That was really great info for sure. Yeah. I like that. And I love your partnership. That's just perfect.
Yeah.
In every way.
Yeah, no, it is. So if people are looking to get in contact with you or trying to find more about you and your business and what you guys got going on out there in San Diego, where can we send them to interact with you?
So I'm active on Facebook. You can look me up, Mark Doty. It's just under my personal name. I talk to people when they call me. You can call me on my cell phone. It's 858-204-2510. I mean, I actually like talk to people. I'm not like, I don't have anybody guarding that. I started a YouTube channel that's like kind of a work in progress. That's Doty Capital, or again, under my name, Mark Doty. I'm just getting started there, but those are 3 places that, I'm accessible.
Yeah. What kind of content are you putting out on that YouTube channel?
So I'm going through like my deals. I'm trying to film the before and after, and then I'm on some of them I'll get like a little deeper into the financials, and some of them it's just like trying to get the concept around buying a house and turning it into multiple units. Those are the main topics.
Right.
That's great.
So financial breakdown and value add analysis and understanding.
Yeah, it's that, and it's just like you can do a burr in this kind of market, despite what you hear from other popular sources.
Awesome. Well, Mark, we really appreciate your time today, and we look forward to chatting it up with you throughout the year.
All right. Well,
thanks for
reaching out. It's been fun.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.